And okay, I am Jeff Stone. I'm a seniors real estate specialist with Douglas Elliman in Manhasset and Port Washington. And what I do is I help folks to downsize, relocate, or even age in place. And professionals, as you see here, I have a whole host of professionals I can refer to should the need arise on your end, whether it's tag sales, clean outs, moving, specialized type moving, and things like that, relocation services. And I do this. The show is called Downsizing and Relocation for Boomers and Seniors. All right. So every week is different. We had no law attorney on the last time. That was Ann Margaret Carrozza, past assemblywoman, and she's now a legal counsel for Dr. Phil. And Good Morning America has been on there. And she's also a friend of mine. She's handling my mother-in-law's estate as we speak. So that being said, I want to welcome our guest speakers today. That's Donna Farino of Quality Cleanouts. Hi, Donna.
Hey, Jeff. Hi.
Okay. Kevin McGill, Junk Luggers of Queens and Long Island. Hi, Kevin. And Gary Ferrero of Malloy Brothers Moving and Storage.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, great. What I want to do is to put up their information right now, just so that you can either get a screenshot. There we go. And everything is going to be recorded, will be placed on my Facebook page at Douglas Elliman, Jeff Stone, also on my YouTube channel, Jeff Stone. This will also be on Facebook proper, it will be on Twitter, wherever I can place it, it'll be on. And from here, it is going to my SoundCloud account, and then from there to the Douglas Elliman SoundCloud account. And this reaches on an international level. How do I know? Well, I received a follow from a man from Malaysia, somebody from Berlin, Germany, and somebody from Beverly Hills. So there we have it. It's been really quite amazing. So these are our speakers. And before I forget, what I want to do is to put up my little thing here. Oh, the Hounds of Baskerville. All right, that's my my stuff right there. So again, all this will be at the end of the show as well. So this way you can see everything. Take a screenshot, a photo from your phone, and go from there. All right. So that being said, what I want to explain what we're doing tonight is once we made the decision to downsize and move, what do we do with our stuff? All right. How do we get it from one place to the next place and things like that? So the last show we had speakers on like Adam Zimmerman with Style Lee Antiques, Patty Bloom of Diamond Tag Sales, and they offer tag sale services. So that's a way of dealing with some of our stuff. If it's saleable, what if it's not saleable? What if you could be donated to charity or just cleaned out and disposed of, or moved as in a moving service. All right. So, hanging on to our stuff is kind of important. We've lived with it for 20 plus years and kind of fond of these things. So what I want to do is to introduce Donna Farino. First off, Kevin's and Gary, ladies first. So Donna Farino of Quality Cleanouts. That was a family business, and now you're the owner proprietor, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yep. I created that business after a need of my own, having to downsize my mom after 40 something years in an apartment, and realized that there was nobody to help me. So it was quite a feat. And after I was done.
Yeah, that's the same reason how I got involved, was because of my mom too, so I can identify with that. So I'll let you explain your business and what it is you do, and I have a couple of questions I think I'd like to ask you.
Sure. Thank you, Jeff. Hi, everyone. I'm Donna Farino, and my business is Quality Cleanouts. I help people to downsize and declutter, organize and reorganize, pack up for a move, unpack after a move, and empty it out their residence when life takes a turn. As Jeff mentioned, I'm especially sweet on helping seniors there are so many elder orphans out there who just don't have any family left or living nearby to help them. And oftentimes it's such an overwhelming task to move or to have to move. I try to lessen the stress for them.
Uh-huh. Okay. I do have a question for you, Donna. And what about people who cannot be on site for a move because they've already left their homes, but have now decided to sell their homes, or their rental leases are up?
Well,
What do
that's a great question, Jeff, and that's happening more and more frequently. Just this past month, I helped a gentleman in the United Kingdom whose lease was up in Manhattan, and he had to physically get everything out, but obviously he wasn't coming back to Manhattan right at this time. So we did it through email, FaceTime, and we were able to identify the things that he wanted to keep, the things that he didn't want to keep, and it went very, very well. Since then, I've connected with 3 or 4 other people out of state whose family members are in the same predicament. So this is a new leg of my business, doing it that way, and it's so far going very well.
Uh-huh. Okay. And what are some of the first things people should do when considering a move?
Besides call you, right?
I
Let's
was
see.
just about to say, call me first, and then I'll call someone such as Donna.
There's so much planning that that's involved in this. And I tell people to be realistic with their space planning needs and their time needs. I always bring a calendar with me to a consult because I want to work within their timeline and make sure that people leave enough time for hiccups that invariably come during the whole process.
Uh-huh. I know one thing is important. When I work with older clients, I always invite their adult children. Okay.
Of course.
Do you get family and friends involved as you declutter, donate, and reorganize things?
That's my first rule of business, Jeff. I will not accept an assignment unless the family or close friends are involved and have been through the home with the person, because you never want to be accused of donating something or throwing something away that somebody in the family wanted. Unfortunately, a lot of the times this seniors will say, my kids are too busy or they don't want anything. But we pretty much do an inventory of the house to make sure that we don't throw out Johnny's trophies from 8th grade or the yearbooks or the wedding dress that may be under the bed.
Uh-huh. Okay, so what can quality cleanouts do to help people to help themselves before a move?
I think the biggest thing we can do, Jeff, is lend an ear. Try to speak to them about the transition that's coming. A lot of them are not happy about it. Probably the last 3 jobs I've had, the people did not want to move, but it was needed for them to move and they recognized it. So I think the first thing you have to have is empathy. And the second thing you have to have is patience. And the most important thing for me is actually loving what you do, because that comes through. If they feel like they're just being talked to nonchalantly or not listened to, it can make all the difference.
Now, things have changed, especially during COVID-19. And I mean, I know this through a realtor for sure, but now social distancing has lessened, and also oftentimes it's prohibited family and friends to come to mom or dad's house and lend a hand because of the geographical distance or the health concerns. So how can you help out there?
Well, I call myself a bridge between these family members who can't get there geographically, like you said. I have a woman I'm working with in Minnesota who's moving her mom to Minnesota, 96-year-old, and she thought she was coming up on a plane next week, and she realizes she can't do that. So she's putting the mom on the plane by herself, and we're going to prep her and make sure she has everything ready to go. I may even be taking her to the airport. I'm not sure yet. But a lot of people are just stuck, and they don't know that we're here to give services they may not have thought were possible.
Right. Now, I've shown homes virtually and every which way, okay? I would imagine that's part of your service as well, especially when they can't be there. So you have to connect with them somehow. So
I do. And a lot of times people say, may I send you a picture of my messy room or my basement or whatever? And Kevin will tell you I send him pictures nonstop. you know, and to the movers too, to try to get a feel for what is involved in the move, and so that they can get a pretty accurate estimate. So Zoom and FaceTime have become good friends of mine.
Right. Now, a couple of last questions for you right now, Donna, and as people try to do things on their own, we're all
Every
very
day.
independent, you know, whether it's selling your home on your own or cleaning out themselves, you know, God bless them. All right. But what are the biggest misconceptions that people have when planning a move? Is it that
Well,
they can,
that's just it, that they can do it on their own. Like you said, how many people want to sell their home on their own? A lot of times I'll meet people and they say, you know, I'm going to take care of it. I'll do it myself. And I wish them well. And a lot of those same times, those people are calling me back 3 or 4 days before they're supposed to be out of their house in a panic, because they haven't been able to sell that dining room set, or they haven't been able to get rid of all the Legos down the basement.
Yeah. A lot of the times I do hear from clients, well, can you sell my dining room furniture? Or I said, yeah, well, I can ask, you know, but again, someone such as yourself can definitely help right there, you know, because you know all the outlets to.
I do, and I'm much more involved in donations. I do defer to Patty Bloom of Diamond Tag Sales and Adam Zimmerman if I think there's enough for either of those professionals to be called in. But I'm strictly donations, and what's happening now is the donations were closed for some time, opened up briefly, and now they've closed a lot of them again until the middle of September. So people are stuck wanting to donate. I had a customer yesterday who called St. Vincent's. They said they would take everything. They took half of everything. And so then they had to call junk luggers, which isn't a bad thing. But had they planned a little better, they would have relieved themselves of a lot of stress.
Yeah. Now, that's a nice segue, by the way, Donna.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Yes, we're going to go to you, Mr. McGill. All right. Kevin, welcome to the show. Again, Kevin is Director of Operations, Junk Luggers of Queens and Long Island.
I have to clap for them. Okay.
You know, before I go further, Kevin, I just want to let you know that we use junk luggers from my mother-in-law's estate in Auburndale, and you guys did a professional job. And they also did a service for me. All right. I had 3 pieces of furniture to go out, and how they got it through that doorway, I'm still trying to figure out. You know, it was a little gymnastic jutsu or whatever it was. Anyway,
for sure.
But what is it about junk luggers that is so appealing to folks?
I think it has to do with, you know, what we do with people's junk or people's stuff. We realize there's a big attachment, whether it's, your grandfather's old china cabinet, or like Donna said, Johnny's old trophies or those yearbooks. We realize that it's not just junk, it's part of somebody's life. And, we respect it in the fact of what we do with it and hoping to give it another life, and not just simply throwing it out at the dump. I think that's the biggest appeal, but I think there's a lot more to us than simply, our eco-friendly, sort of structure.
Yeah, what made me feel good, I saw it from a personal end, and that whether it was myself or my in-laws, they were very happy to know that some of their mom's items would be given in a charitable cause, and that made them feel a lot better.
Yeah.
They sold what they could at tag sale, like everybody likes to do a driveway, backyard tag sale. And it can be a daunting thing to do that, by the way. I've done those myself. Yeah. That's crazy. But guys like you separate, the good stuff, charitable, to items to be thrown out. And I just found that very appealing. And you get a tax statement, a letter from you guys.
Tax deductible receipt, for anything that we can donate on our customers' behalf. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mentioned a little bit of it, why not just do this myself? I mean, why not I just call up some organization or,
Yeah. I mean, like you and Don were saying, you can do anything yourself.
Yes.
Are you going to do it correctly? Are you going to do it without any problems? perhaps, but I think
Probably not.
yeah, when you hire somebody, like ourselves who are professionals and are doing this day in, day out, we're going to mitigate, that frustration, save you time, and prevent perhaps any, major problems in whether it's the closing or getting out of the lease on time, because you weren't able to figure out how to move that china cabinet out of the basement, or get that
Right.
500-pound piano out of the living room without, of course, damaging the floor, damaging any of the, the outdoor areas. So you can do it yourself, but we know how to do it. We do it day in, day out, and we do it the right way. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I know during one job I had this one home seller. It was an active adult community, and there was this big, I don't know what you would call it, a cabinet wall, cabinet, whatever you
well,
guys. Yeah. In any case, no one wanted to buy because they had a tag sale. All right, online, which is, I can understand it, especially now in COVID. All right, but no one wanted this, and this stereo. So the thing is that if I knew somebody like you, pick it up, no sweat, no hassle. Is a tax receipt. How easy is that?
yeah, and you can go that route in terms of trying to sell it and all that, or perhaps hiring somebody to sell it, but or you can go the route of simply hiring somebody like us and avoiding those those primary steps.
So instead of other removal companies that they would call you because you do what you do. Is that it?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. Now everybody always will ask me or others commissions, prices. What do you charge? So that's very important to folks. Especially this is the biggest sale going into retirement perhaps, and they need every dollar.
No, understandably. Yeah, so we work a little bit of how we work to lead up to how we price. So we work in 2-hour windows. So you'll schedule an appointment. We have a guarantee that we'll be in that arrival in that 2-hour window.
Right.
Make sure we give a call on the way there, so we're not just showing up and ringing on the doorbell. And then that's where the process starts when we get on site. We'll conduct no obligation estimate, and that estimate is based on volume. So how much room do the items that you want removed take up in our truck? We have 15 cubic yard dump trucks, bright green, all the same trucks, industry standard. You can't miss them. So we'll do that walkthrough. We'll assess the volume of that you want removed. We do have certain items that are subject to surcharge that require additional labor or disposal process. And those are all identified in that no obligation estimate. So if that estimate is accepted on the spot and there was the intention to do work that day, we get right to work. And once everything's done, if it ends up being less than what we estimated, it comes down to proportionally what it is. If we underestimated it, that's on us. So we have price assurance from that initial estimate that here's the max price and that's what it's going to be unless it comes down. So volume is really how we do it.
No, I see. It's a really good service. I mean, I've been very happy with junk luggers for sure, and done a good job by me. And as a matter of fact, I put up a photo with the gentleman by the truck, and
I saw that. Thank you.
It's not like it went viral, but I'm sure you saw it because I hashtagged you guys. So, but some of my friends in the area said, "Oh, great!" And all of a sudden, I'm seeing a lot of junk lugger trucks around now. I don't know if there's a connection here, but but it's a really good service, and I appreciate everything you've done. But now you're kind of like almost like the middleman. All right, Donna's like she's passing the football off, decluttering, organizing, cleaning out, calling up Kevin junk luggers, okay? And then what you might be doing, Kevin, is saying, okay, Gary, you're on. We need now to take the rest of the stuff, if there is, and to move it, to where it's going. So I'm going to introduce at this point Gary Ferrero, And he's a consultant with Malloy Brothers Moving and Storage. Welcome to the show, Gary.
Very much, Jeff.
And what I can say is that, Gary, you're the ultimate professional. You're really personable. You know your stuff. You're passionate about what you do. And I have to say, you were formerly with junk luggers, and it was almost like you were a fish out of water. And you went back to the moving business, which is where I guess maybe I wouldn't say you belong, but where maybe your skills are better at, and so knowing that, tell us a little something about Malloy Brothers.
Okay, well, I want to believe that you are dealing with the moving consultant. The company behind you certainly has to have all of the proper pieces in place. But what I think I do vis-a-vis Malloy Brothers is I help people plan and navigate through the moving process, which is touted to be the second most stressful thing in one's life behind the death of a loved one. Now, it's questionable. I've never been through a divorce, fortunately, married 39 years. But it's touted that moving and a nasty divorce can be on the same plane. So that's a subject of debate. But moving is a puzzle, and a lot of times people don't know what the pieces of the puzzle are, or they're fragmented. They have a jigsaw puzzle with half-inch pieces. I try to make the pieces of the puzzle larger and break down each piece so that they can plan and get through the process. And it's interesting how this all works, because we are a trilogy here, Donna, Kevin, and the services we perform, because oftentimes for each of us, the process begins with us, and we need to be like an octopus and have tentacles that have all of the service professionals lined up, so that when we're queried about, what to do about this or what to do about that, we have those resources available to assist that client to get through the entire process seamlessly. So no two experiences are the same for us. I'm pretty sure a fact for all of us. And we all can come in at various stages. Malloy Brothers itself has been in this business since 1946 rather. They have a very, very high rating. I'm very happy to be a part of their organization.
Well, why use a professional full service mover as opposed to, say, a containerized system like pods?
Yeah, so there are a myriad of responses to that. So first of all, the labor, like the junk luggers, the labor is included in the cost of a professional move. So people don't have to worry about labor showing up. What is that labor going to cost? It's all inclusive. And beyond that, while we don't have the fiduciary responsibility of caring for someone's largest asset, usually the sale of their home, we handle the second largest asset, which is their material possession. So with that said, pods are like saunas. They receive high heat through these transparent roofs all day long, and then it gets cool at night. So there's condensation that forms in there that can damage furniture joints and cause mold and mildew to build up on various surfaces. The other thing is that the things are usually not secured very well in a pod, because it's a DIY service where a professional mover is going to secure all of those items in that truck so they're not rocking around and rolling around and getting damaged, because we're responsible for damage. Additionally, container can be an eyesore or inconvenience to have on your property. And then they're not an air ride suspension. So if you do go with one of those, your stuff is literally being bounced around like it's in a van. All of our trucks have air ride suspension to cushion the road surfaces to make sure that everything gets to its destination the way it was put on the truck. Okay,
now when I see Malloy Brothers Moving, I'm thinking local, but are you part of a larger van line network? Why is that important?
Absolutely. We're part of the Mayflower network. Unigroup companies are two. We're one of those. We're the largest brotherhood of moving companies in the world. I'm very proud of that. We have resources that extend to every corner of the country and to Europe. So we depend on each other for services. So I, for instance, have had people that I've moved. I just had one today. Moved a gentleman to Virginia about 2 years ago. He wants to go to Myrtle Beach. I can elicit the assistance of I can manage his move, elicit the assistance of my Washington, D.C. brother, and they can perform the services and deliver that customer to Myrtle Beach. In addition to the logistical benefits and the day-to-day, you have the support of a high net worth organization with executives and attorneys that's established for over 100 years. So everything that we have designed, our quoting system, our insurance, everything is as good as it can possibly be in this industry. And we're all agents, we're not brokers. And people don't realize today with online being at our fingertips, and Lord knows we've accelerated online usage probably by 2 decades. So people go online rather, and they have bad experiences because when somebody brokers your project, they take a deposit, they keep that deposit, and they literally put your job out to bid. And then it's a free-for-all. So I've heard the stories where the job went through 3 or 4 channels by the time it got delivered. With us, you get loaded by the same driver that delivers you. So if you're going from here to Myrtle Beach or here to Florida, you see the driver at your house in Port Washington, and you see the same driver at your home at your destination. So it's one point of contact. You have an internal move coordinator that holds your hand. I stay with the process from beginning to end. I'm not the used car sales guy who sells you the car and then you can't find me in the aftermath. So all of these things add up to a van line system.
It's not just hiring like Mayflower Malloy, you're hiring a team, all right? And you're hiring people that give a darn, and that's what I really care. It's not just a number, it's not just another company. Why refer a moving company? I've heard realtors say, oh, I'll just get a moving company. That's terrible. If I'm going to refer somebody, I'm going to stand behind that referral saying, this person is good or great or whatever it is, and I'll meet them over at your house so we can sit down together and talk over their services while I'm there, because, again, sometimes folks don't like strangers coming in, but they've already met me and they trust me, and I'll bring somebody in to work with them. So pricing, again, very important, Gary. How do you price your jobs, both local and long distance?
Yeah, so we provide binding estimates. I can provide a binding estimate on a local job. Smaller local jobs, we typically do hourly, but a long distance move is always binding. It's mandated by the van line. We cannot put a customer on weight-based paper where that price can change. So I come in, I'm very pleased to say that most people want an in-home estimate, even though we do offer virtual estimates that are recorded, and we can go back and look and see what we've done with the customer to make sure that we have accuracy. But most people want an in-home estimate. I am going in, I'm masked. I'm asking that they be masked as well. But the binding estimate is crucial. And I wouldn't let anyone I'm associated with or love get anything but that. So it's based on the survey of the items shown. We have to protect ourselves in that regard. So the customer can't be ordering new furniture from Raymore and Flanagan, and it shows up, 2 days before the move, and we've got to load that on the truck. Drivers get paid based on what they put on their truck and what they haul. So we have to protect ourselves, but we give binding estimates. We can't lowball, we can't play with weights, because ultimately I'm responsible. My pocketbook is responsible. Yep. So if I'm not astute in someone's home and I'm missing half the furniture and I'm giving them a price for 5,000 pounds, the driver shows up and it's 10,000, we have a problem. Right. I'm on the hook.
Yeah. Now, something you just brought up, this was from personal experience from my mom when she was moving from one house to the other, and it was just locally. Took all her items in the house and then almost held them hostage because they undervalued or, said it's worth
Understand.
something, and then it's not. Now it's worth this amount, and you have to pay us this in order to have your furniture.
Yeah.
Now, I located where they were, where their warehouse was, and I was told very, very, very nicely not to go down there, Jeff. You know, don't act out. And I was really annoyed. I mean, my God, how can somebody do that? So if I refer somebody or a moving company, you know, you just do the best job you can, because treat it as if it was your own mom, your own family, and you can't go wrong. You know, honesty is the best policy. I truly believe that, you know. So one last question for you, Gary, and what differentiates you from other companies in your industry?
Well, there are a lot of things, but what I want to start is with what should make us the same. But this is the biggest differentiator, what should make us all the same, because if we're all transparent and all doing the right thing, we would uphold the tariff. So here's a throwback to your last American history class. The word tariff, you probably haven't heard that in a long time, but every moving company for the states that they operate in have to submit a tariff. That's the published rates of what they charge. So when I go into a home and a customer says to me, Gary, you're $1,000 more than the other two quotes I got. The first question is, who are they? And then, of course, you know, you shake your head and you know they're not van line movers. What they do is they cheat. They lowball the estimates based on weight. They're holding their tariff prices. And I equate this to Toyota and Nissan. So if Toyota builds the 4Runner and Nissan builds the Pathfinder, they're on the same vertical in each of their respective lineups. Those vehicles are priced within a couple $100s of one another. So when you work with a professional mover, all of your quotes should be within a couple of $100s if all the services are quoted transparently and equally as they should be. So that's what we face. You know, they say it's lonely at the top. So when you're on the top of the pile, everybody's trying to chop your ankles out. They're all trying to figure out ways to undercut you. And Lord knows they have their ways. If a customer wants the job packed, they'll short sell the packing by 20%. And then on move day, the driver shows up and he says, Mrs. Jones, I'm sorry, but you know, your salesman's you know, wasn't conscientious. He only quoted you 3/4 of the packing. It's going to be another $1,000. So, you know, at the end of the day, if I can do an apples to apples comparison, and this is what I offer my customers, and it doesn't matter to me how long it takes. If they've got 4 quotes, I will take copies of those quotes and I'll invest the hour or 2 hours to go line item by line item and make it apples to apples, because a lot of times insurance is shortchanged. They're told they have insurance. Meanwhile, they have the default insurance of 60 cents a pound. They don't have full value protection with a 0 deductible, which is what I must quote. I am not permitted to quote anything less than that. My system wouldn't even allow me to do it. So that's probably the biggie that separates us, is that we adhere to the tariff. We're diligent about all of the services that a customer needs, and we're quoting them very transparently. In fact, in my particular case, when I send an estimate, I will break down all of the charges, because a binding estimate loads everything up into one price. I will break out the services because as a consumer, I want to know what I'm paying for. Right. I buy a bundle. I don't want one price lumped together. So I do that for my clients. So the other thing I would say that differentiates us is the storage ability to haul things back to our own building and keep it in a controlled environment. It's not a public storage. It's not off-premises storage. It's held in our building. So we have control over it. On a long distance move, we have a program that covers that storage for 6 months. It's all rolled into one price for the move. So it's nice and tidy. People, again, it's just it's one less thing for the customer to worry about.
Okay, great. Now, this is a toss-up between Kevin and Gary. This question is from Carol. How and where to dispose of business equipment and inventory during a pandemic when normal venues are closed and have the minimal ability to accept stuff?
Interesting, right, Kevin? Based on what we've been going through,
Well, one thing I would ask is like a little bit more details in terms of what type of equipment. Is it stuff that needs to be destroyed? Is it stuff that somebody would hope would be reused? Because in terms of recycling and properly destroying perhaps sensitive items, that can be certainly done. In terms of reuse and donation, I think the whole economy and sort of how we go about work in a traditional sense of what we know has changed. So the demand for, say, cubicles or office desks
Right.
has totally changed, and that's something, to be honest, that we're still figuring out.
Perhaps the person can contact you when I put up everybody's
Yeah, no, certainly.
contact information towards the end again.
Yeah,
This way they can ask you, because, my father's was in business for a long time, different types of equipment and inventory. I don't know how he got rid of it all, to be honest. I mean, it's like, you just think somebody comes by and picks it up. Well, who, and
yeah. I
so,
would say that, in terms of liquidation, like say you have merchandise, that's not something we do.
Uh-huh.
I think there's, dedicated liquidators, in terms of if you have excess inventory. But in terms of perhaps other business assets, we can certainly remove and dispose of those.
Yeah.
I mean, a realistic response really is that the furniture industry, their whole MO was to give a discounted price to remove items from an office and then sell off all the bits and pieces they could. So in a booming economy where new offices are going up all over the place, that's not a challenge. But in this economy, sadly, I think a very realistic answer is a lot of this metal is going to get scrapped, sadly, because there's no 6-foot-tall partitions are not acceptable anymore in today's society. So what do you do with those? So there's additional monies that need to be put into those for plexiglass, barriers that go up
Yes.
on them. And that cost is just, there's no benefit to doing that. So I think sadly, a lot of old office equipment these days is going to get scrapped.
Yeah.
I would add one more thing is, and I don't have the answer here, but perhaps there could be, some engineer or some creative repurpose of, say, cubicles to fit the future needs of an office space. But that's just a quick brainstorm in terms of going forward.
Yeah,
Okay.
part of the sad reality is that with more and more people, with everybody working from home, there's going to be less people going back into the workspace. So there are all kinds of percentages all over the place. But I think we have to assume that approximately 50% of the people who were relegated to working from home will probably remain working from home. So the need for office space, as you know, Jeff, is converting now back to industrial space, where we had that whole movement in the 90s, right? 80s and 90s from industrial to office. Now we're seeing the reverse of that.
Yeah, it's really amazing what's happening nowadays. And the second part of that two-part question was, who's buying antiques nowadays? And I mentioned before with Donna's help, Patty Bloom of Diamond Tag Sales, but with antiques, Adam Zimmerman of Sly Lee Antiques could be the go-to person, especially if it's something of value. And again, talk to an expert, because you don't want to lose a dollar on something selling yourself because you looked it up, the potential worth. It's better to go an expert. People who see this or know about this day in and day out, and hiring folks as yourselves and past guests that we've had on the show. Yeah, everybody needs to earn a living. You do price accordingly, fairly. But again, what price tag do you put on, maintaining your sanity? I mean, there's a lot of stress involved with the move. And, it's a lot of anxiety, and it can get nasty at times, especially with family members. So you bring in somebody that can help out the situation. Why wouldn't you at least talk with them and possibly hire them? But again, like Donna, like others here, I'm sure, what's happened to our own families in the past. That's why we're doing what we're doing. And everyone here, I don't know Kevin yet, but we will, you know. Don, I'm getting to know more and more. We're in the same hood, you know, and, you know, we're going to be working together. We have worked together. But again, referring people that care, that are experienced, that don't pass you off to somebody else, that actually walks it through with you instead of like, here you go, and I'll see you around. Because, you know, especially with tag sales, I've seen agents set up a tag sale professional, if you will. And I say, well, when I go to the house, I go, well, who's helping you? Well, my agent sent me this person. And I say, well, where are they? He says, well, you know, they're doing real estate. I'm going, well, don't they check in to see how things are going? I mean, that's what I do. I'm not saying they have to do that, but it's the personal connection, the commitment to your client, because I think that's very important, you know. So in any case, does anybody from the audience here, if you have anything to ask, a question of these professionals, feel free to put it into chat. If not, we'll just keep it going. If somebody has something to add, whether Donna, Kevin, or Gary, you know, feel
I'd
free
like to say something, Jeff. You know, Kevin is the youngster amongst us, but Kevin is probably the most mature young person I know, and I say that sincerely. Kevin feels someone else's pain and senses what's going on. I think for the remaining three of us, at a different point in our lives, we've all gone through something in our life that has made us committed to what we do. I know for me, I'll give you just a quick story. I have a hip replacement. So not until I got my hip replacement did I understand what a disabled person is going through. And I have a totally different level of compassion. When it comes to moving, I've been through all the trials and tribulations with parents who are now gone. I've needed the resources of organizers. I've needed the resources of junk luggers, of moving professionals. And it's invaluable. The resources that we offer are invaluable. And I think sometimes you don't know it until you get there. And you wish that the public, as Donna said before, you know, you can't come within 3 weeks of moving and you have 90,000 Legos to pack. You know, you have to plan ahead. So I think going through these experiences makes us cognizant of that. So, you know, I have a whole different outlook on people who are in need of our services, because I actually now can feel what they're
Their
going
pain.
through, feel their pain. And I think that's very important as you go through the process. Donna alluded to patience and compassion. And these are industries where those two virtues are tantamount to your success and the success of that project.
Right. Okay, a question just came in from Carol, and this is more towards you, Donna. How do you handle sales when the apartment building does not allow tag sales?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of places prohibit any large gatherings like a tag sale. So when that happens, a few things can occur. Sometimes a family member who does have a house or a backyard or a garage big enough, and I've seen this happen only a handful of times, will take the things from their loved one or their friends to have a tag sale for them. Other times, we have somebody like Adam again, or somebody like Patty, who will do a virtual tag sale. So that you don't have to have people parading through their apartment. They can do it all online.
And then they arrange for a pickup somehow with the item?
Yes. Yep. They have it all mapped out. They mark it, label it, and they take care of that.
You know,
Ship it if they have to.
you know, this, you know,
Correct.
COVID, you know, as nasty as it is, and, you know, and will be for a while anyway, it's brought together more services that deal with, say, you know, the privacy of somebody's own estate, the building, not to have a lot of people traipsing in and out. And, you know, this has done a lot. It's virtually, you know, as we're doing here on Zoom. And by the way, this Zoom podcast, this is going to be seen internationally. I can guarantee you that. All right. the thing is the more people know about folks like you and about what can be done, it's like with apartments, say in the city. You know, that's a big deal. Another one came in just now. It's funny here. We're talking about a loft. Does anyone have experience with culling or relocating an air loft in Manhattan?
Can you
An air
describe-
Yeah,
loft?
can
What is an
you
air loft?
repeat that again?
Does anyone have experience with culling or relocating an air loft in Manhattan? Diane, I'm not sure if I understand what that means. An air loft? Well, okay. When Diane is going to clarify for me, I'll go on to Helen here. How is damage to paint jobs, walls reimbursed? I would imagine you're all licensed and insured because
Well
Yes.
insured, yes. Mhm.
so if anybody, if there's any damage, you know, you're on the hook. You know, it's as simple as that. We're all licensed and insured, and I only bring licensed and insured contractors on board.
We're all liable for the repair, yes.
Yeah. Okay, now Diane got back to us.
Oh,
It's not air, artist and residents. How it is the experience with relocating an artist in residence, if that's what I'm reading here.
So is she perhaps speaking about moving and wrapping paintings or sculptures or things that the artist is working on?
I would imagine artwork or an artist in residence. How do you experience with, I guess, relocating artwork? If that might be it, I'm not quite sure,
I
Diane,
would
if
call
that's
in
it.
Donna to pack
If
that.
you want to
Yeah, thanks.
unmute yourself, Diane, be my guest. You know, that's something that you may want to do, because still it's a little tough
It's a little fuzzy.
understanding. It's a
Yeah, I
little.
mean, you know, a general response.
Diane just unmuted herself.
Okay.
Hi,
Um,
Diane.
My husband was an artist who worked for 60 years or more. And I still have some of his work left, but I am going to be 78. And I'm looking to sell what I have here, which includes not only his work, but a collection of other people's artwork that that we collected over 45 years of marriage.
That's beautiful.
We have also a 2,000 square foot loft in Soho. And, you know, I am just trying to figure out what to do.
Can you contact a gallery? Would anybody be involved in the gallery world in assisting you and possibly selling some of those pieces on consignment?
No, my husband passed away 8 years ago. And I've tried a number of things like having salons here and doing all kinds of you know, other types of activities and appointments and selling online and so on. And none of them have really been satisfactory from the point of view of getting my inventory of stuff down to a manageable level. Obviously, if I am going to go into a retirement community, I can't take all this stuff with me.
Correct.
On the other hand, I don't want to just put it out on the street or, I mean, I really am, I'm totally at a loss. So I need help.
If you send me your email or your phone number, I'm happy to connect you. I have 3 people in mind already as you're speaking. So just shoot me an email, donnafarino@gmail.com, or give me a phone call, and I'm happy to speak with you.
Donna, F-E-R-R-I-N.
F-U, I'm not cursing, F-U-R-I-N-O. At Gmail.
Furino
Correct.
at Gmail.
Mm-hmm.
I will put everybody's contact information on afterwards, Diane, so don't leave until I do that, so this way you can write down everything.
Okay, so
All right.
I actually have been in touch with another person who was on this call before, Barbara Feldman, who was another presenter.
Yes.
And so she's familiar with at least some of the stuff that's here. But in any case, I'm happy to explore anything at this point. And I'm not sure when I'm going to be moving, but I do know that I need to move with a lot less stuff than I have.
Right.
And I have been, how can I say it? I've been very frustrated since this COVID thing came in, because I had been donating a lot of stuff to Housing Works and other places, and everything's closed. So I've got all these bags of stuff ready to go, but I can't.
There are places, Diane, who are accepting donations, and I'm happy to share with you those places too. I'm having pickups across Long Island from various places.
The main important
Okay,
thing
well, I'm in
here,
Lower Manhattan, so
the important thing is, Diane, you're not alone on this.
Nope.
And there are professionals, whether here or that you've already spoken to, that know how to handle the situation. Again, we all come with experience. We've gone through this ourselves, but we've seen it professionally, and we know how to handle these things. So.
All right. Well, I'm exploring every option.
That's a good thing.
As you should.
Planning is key. That's the number one thing you can do before you decide when it's time to move, is to plan. And it's
all right.
very
Well,
big.
I'm going to be 78 in November, and I hope to have this transition completed before I'm 80.
Okay.
I'm sure that
I
will
think
happen.
you will.
And let me be the first to wish you a happy birthday.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Well, that's a little bit
I know, but you gotta
in advance.
We have to celebrate
I have to
every
make
day.
it to November.
Yeah, I know. If no one else has anything to say, stay on, please, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put everybody's thingamajig on there. And there we go, right there. How's that? Everybody can see this now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is good. All right. So again, if you want to take your camera out and take a photo, if you wanted to go onto my Facebook page, Douglas Elliman, Jeff Stone, my YouTube channel, Jeff Stone, again, Jeff Stone for everything just about. It'll be out there. If you want me to send you a link, you can send me an email, and I can put up my information right after this. And that's it. We try to connect folks with one another. And, again, we're all people trying to help one another. That's the way it should be. All right. So what I will do is to put another share up here, which is me. Okay, there I go. And, again, I got involved as a seniors real estate specialist. I mean, I'm a licensed real estate salesperson, but because of what my mom went through, much like what Donna's mom went through, and we want to provide guidance for folks over a certain age, help them navigate this senior maze that we find ourselves in. And I'm beginning to find that out more and more. I'm glad I'm meeting a lot of people that I didn't even know were out there. So it's been really good for me. And, again, I took this to heart. I mean it. I co-hosted a radio show for 3 years called The Senior Moment. It was a big Long Island radio station. And we spoke just like we are right now. We had specialists on, we interviewed on the radio, whether it was a senior move manager like Barbara Feldman, an organizer like a Donna Furino. We even, we had developers. We had a lot of different people on as it relates to real estate. So the thing is that this is like that radio show. And I know there's a lot of people that do listen, that want this information, don't know where to find it. And, you know, that's part of what I'm doing here. So with that said, if no one else has anything to add, we could decide to end it here. Again, I'm going to put up everybody's contact information again.
Jeff, I want to thank you for all of your energy.
Yes, me too.
And all of the motivation that you have to do this, and thank you for having me a part of it.
Well, of course, you know, I'm having a blast. Thank you, everyone here, for coming out, for the attendees, for our guests. The next discussion is going to be about 2 weeks from now. And let me tell you something. Now that we have all our stuff together, either sold or not sold, or we're going to take some of it with like Malloy Brothers or what have you, where are we going with all our stuff? Where are we going to end up? Are we going to end up in the same town? Just instead of aging in place, aging within town, okay? Or we're relocating maybe to the next county over, Suffolk, all right? Some people are doing that. Some people are moving in with their kids. Some people are going down south. Some people are going internationally. I'm a certified international property specialist as well. I'm a resort and second property specialist. So the thing is though, I have colleagues spread out all over the place that are seniors real estate specialists. And I have this family of specialists that help you find the right place. If you're going down there, I give you some ideas based on what you're looking for. Contact somebody that's in that city, which I've done. And they welcome them at the airport or at their hotel, and then they show them around, you know. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about assisted living communities, the good things about them, and why they're good for those who need them. We're going to talk about 55 and over active adult communities. But again, relocation, a big thing. And we're also going to put in there a little bit something of COVID-19, how you do all this during COVID-19. And you'd be surprised the results. People are active. That's not going to end. I mean, real estate is jumping right now. People want to move on with their lives, but you can do it safely. All right. And that's the whole thing. If you have professionals that practice safety and health guidelines that are set forth by New York State or by the federal government, everything's going to be okay. All right. So that's the main thing. I think there's one more chat, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Let me see. This is from Kevin to everyone, but specifically to Helen. Just to get an answer to your question, huh?
Helen was asking what happens or how is damage to paint jobs, walls reimbursed? And just to give a quick answer, we do whatever the customer prefers. And just in regards to damage, it happens. It's not a perfect world, but we go about it whatever they prefer, and that could be either repairing it ourselves if it's a small nick, and properly applying any plaster or sanding and the proper paint, or using an outside contractor that we work with, or a preferred outside contractor that they work with. So it's really however the customer wants to go about it, because at the end of the day, that's our mistake, and we want to make sure it gets fixed properly.
I think that's a fair proposal for sure.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no one else that has something to add,
I just want to say thank you, Jeff, also I want to thank you, Jeff, for your commitment to educate others and to provide an insight on what we do. And I also want to thank my teammates, John Gluggers and Malloy Brothers.
Yep.
We are patient handholders together. We are tenacious problem solvers, and we are all three high energy professionals who love what we do and love providing the services.
Well said. Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Thank
Thank you all, to our attendees and to our guest
Thank you.
speakers. And next time out, it's going to be awesome. That's going to be a big deal. All right. And I'm going to be involved myself on it because of my experience in helping folks to relocate to wherever it is, whether it's locally, nationally or internationally. All right.
How
So-
about to outer space?
Well, you know something, they just sent up that mission to check out
Yes,
ancient
yes.
life on Mars. So who knows? Maybe my family
Forget
came from
Elon
there.
Musk, Donna. We'll send you to the moon.
Listen,
Okay,
I'm
Alice.
game. I'll go.
All right. Stay
All
safe.
right, guys.
Be well.
Stay
Take care,
safe, be well.
everybody. Bye
Take
now.
care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.